The night was silver. Not white, not dark, but silver, soft and alive. Inaya stood by her window, her fingers brushing the cold glass as she stared at the full moon. It felt close tonight, almost breathing, almost watching her back. Every night, she spoke to it, not in words but in silence. Her heart had learned to talk without sound. She whispered, "Do you ever feel lonely up there?" For a moment, the wind paused. Then the curtain lifted, and the moonlight slid across her face like a gentle hand. It was silly, she knew, to believe the moon could listen, but for Inaya it was the only thing that ever did. Her world was loud, filled with voices, duties, and noise. But the moon was her secret listener, and sometimes she felt it whispered back. That night, when she turned to sleep, she heard it. A faint sound, soft like the brush of silver on water. A voice, calm, deep, and distant, saying her name, greater than Inaya. She froze. The sound came again, gentle, almost tender, greater than, "I hear you." The moon had spoken. The next morning felt unreal. Inaya sat by her mirror, brushing her hair, but her mind was still on that voice. The moon's whisper. Was it real? She touched her neck, half expecting to feel the chill of that moment still resting there. Her best friend Zara called her name from the doorway. Greater than, "Inaya, you look like you've seen a ghost." Inaya smiled faintly. Greater than, "Maybe I have. Or maybe I heard one." Zara laughed, but her laughter sounded far away. The truth was, Inaya couldn't shake the feeling that the moon had truly spoken, that it knew her. That night, she waited again. The sky was clear, and the moon hung lower than usual, as if it wanted to listen. She whispered softly, "If you really hear me, say something again." For a long time there was silence. Then, the wind stirred the trees outside her window, and the light shifted, brightening, warming. A silver shimmer spread through the room. The air thickened with something beautiful and strange. Greater than, "You called," the voice said, clearer this time. Inaya gasped, "Who are you?" The moonlight moved, gathering near the window, and for the first time, she saw it take shape. A figure made of light and mist, tall, graceful, with eyes like distant stars. Greater than, "I'm the one who listens when the world forgets to hear," he said softly. "And you, Inaya, have been calling me for a long time." Her heart trembled. She wanted to run, but she couldn't move. The silver light felt safe, warm, like a memory she didn't know she had. Greater than, "What are you?" she whispered. He smiled. "A shadow of the moon. Your moon." And with that, he faded, leaving only a trail of light and a promise in the air. "When you look up again, I will be there." That night, Inaya couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw him, that figure made of silver light. Those eyes that looked like eternity. His voice still echoed inside her chest, gentle but haunting. "When you look up again, I will be there." So she did. She stepped out into the cold night, barefoot on the grass, her heart racing under the moon's glow. The sky was vast and silent, a sea of stars flowing endlessly, and there he was again. The same shimmer, the same calm warmth. Greater than, "You came," Inaya whispered. "You called," he replied. She smiled, a little afraid, a little amazed. "Greater than, what should I call you?" The figure paused. His eyes dimmed for a moment, then brightened again like stars waking from sleep. "Greater than, they once called me Lunaris," he said. "I was born from the first light the moon ever shed. I am its echo, its reflection, its shadow." Inaya repeated the name softly. Greater than, Lunaris. It felt beautiful on her tongue, like a secret spell. "Greater than, why can I see you?" she asked. "Because you believed," he said. "The moon only reveals itself to hearts that remember how to dream." Her eyes softened. "Then I never want to stop dreaming." He smiled, and for the first time his light touched her face. Warm, real, alive. But as soon as his light brushed her skin, the world shifted. The sky rippled, and for a heartbeat, Inaya saw something behind him. A vast silver city, broken towers floating in the night, and 1,000 moon shadows watching her silently. She gasped. "What is that place?" Lunaris turned, his expression changing, sorrow in his eyes. "Greater than that is where I come from. And one day, Inaya, it will call you too." Before she could speak, his light faded again, melting into moonlight, leaving her alone under the sky. But his last words echoed like a heartbeat in her soul. "One day it will call you too." Sleep came to Inaya like a soft wave, but this time it wasn't the usual blur of half-formed dreams. It was vivid, alive, and drenched in silver light. She found herself standing in a vast city made of moonstone. The streets shimmered like mirrors, and tall towers floated weightlessly in the air, glowing like fallen stars. Every sound was like music, distant bells, gentle whispers, and the hum of something ancient. And at the heart of the city, she saw him. Lunaris. He stood before a grand gate made of glass and starlight. His light was dimmer than before, almost human, greater than... "You came sooner than I expected," he said, his voice both proud and sad. "What is this place?" she asked. "Is it the moon?" "No," he whispered. "It's what's left of it. The realm between dream and light. The place where forgotten wishes sleep." Inaya's heart ached. Every corner of that city felt familiar, as if she had walked there once before, long ago in another life, greater than... "Why do I know this place?" she murmured. Lunaris looked away. "Greater than... because it remembers you." Before she could ask more, a tremor shook the ground. The sky flickered, the stars dimmed for a moment, and shadows crept across the shining streets. Lunaris turned sharply, his face tense. "Greater than... they've sensed you. You must wake up." "Who?" she asked, frightened. He reached for her hand, his touch glowing faintly against her skin. "Greater than... the ones who dwell in darkness. The broken lights. They don't like dreamers who remember." The world around her began to crumble. Towers fell into dust, moonlight shattered into black mist, and 1,000 whispering voices echoed through the air. "You shouldn't be here," Inaya screamed. Lunaris' voice broke through the chaos. "Wake up, Inaya!" She jolted upright in her bed, drenched in sweat, heart racing. Our window was open, moonlight spilling across the floor, and there, faintly, she saw his reflection in the glass. "Greater than... you saw too much," he whispered. "Now they will come for you." For days, Inaya couldn't escape the feeling that she was being watched. Even in daylight, the corners of her vision shimmered, as if the moon's light had followed her into the sun. At night, things grew stranger. The reflection in her mirror sometimes moved before she did. Her room would glow faintly even when the curtains were drawn. And when she closed her eyes, she could still hear Lunaris' voice, distant but pleading. "Greater than... don't be afraid of the light. But beware the shadows." She didn't know what it meant, not until the evening she met Azaan. He was new at the art studio where Inaya worked. Quiet, observant, his sketches always seemed to capture the light perfectly. Too perfectly. When their eyes met for the first time, something in her heart stopped. "Greater than... you're Inaya," he said softly, as if he already knew. She frowned. "Have we met before?" He smiled faintly. "Not yet, but I've seen you. In dreams." Her breath caught. "Dreams?" He nodded. "Silver dreams. Help out a city that doesn't exist anymore." Inaya froze. "The Silver City," she whispered. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Two souls tangled by a truth neither could explain. "Greater than... how do you know about it?" she asked finally. Azaan looked away. "Because I once lived there." That night, Inaya couldn't stop thinking about his words. He lived there? Could he be one of them? One of the moon's shadows? When she looked at the moon that night, the light felt colder. A soft mist filled her room, and Lunaris appeared. But this time, his face was pale with worry. "Greater than... Who have you spoken to? Azaan, she said. He knows about the Silver City. Lunaris' expression hardened. Greater than. He shouldn't tea. Why not? Who is he? For the first time, Lunaris didn't answer. He only said one thing before vanishing into the light. He carries the shadow that once destroyed us. The next day at the studio, Inaya couldn't focus. Her hands trembled as she painted. Silver hues mixing with shades of blue, colors that reminded her of the moon. And of him. Both of them. Lunaris, the moon's shadow made of light. Azaan, the man of flesh and blood who spoke like a memory. When she turned, Azaan was standing near her easel, quietly watching her brush glide across the canvas. Greater than. You paint like someone who's seen both heaven and sorrow, he said softly. She smiled faintly. Maybe I have. He moved closer, lowering his voice. Greater than. Do you ever feel like you belong to somewhere else? Her brush stopped. Greater than. Yes, she whispered. A place made of silver dreams. Azaan closed his eyes for a moment, as if her words hurt him. Greater than. Inaya, if I tell you who I am, you'll never see me the same again. Try me. He took a deep breath. Once I was one of them, the moon's shadows. But I broke the rule. Inaya frowned. What rule? We were forbidden to love the ones of the earth. The world around her seemed to fade. Only his eyes, deep and dark, held her there. Greater than. You loved someone? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Yes, he said. Her name was Inaya. Her heart stopped. What do you mean? Azaan looked at her, not with surprise, but with recognition. Greater than. You've lived before under another sky. When the Silver City was whole, you were one of us, a light who loved me when love was forbidden. Tears stung her eyes. That's not possible. It is, he whispered. When the city fell, you were reborn on Earth, but I wasn't allowed to follow. I was cast into shadow, cursed to walk among mortals until you remembered. Inaya stepped back, shaking her head, but her heart remembered what her mind refused. The warmth of moonlight on her skin. The way his voice felt like a song she'd always known. Greater than. Then who is Lunaris? She asked finally. Azaan's eyes darkened. Greater than. He was the one who cursed me. That night, when Inaya looked up at the moon, it was no longer silver. It was red, and the whisper that came wasn't tender this time. Greater than. You've let the shadow in, Inaya. Now, he will take you back. The red moon hung low, casting a strange glow over Inaya's room. Her heart was torn. Two worlds, two forms of the same love, both calling her. Lunaris appeared first, his silver form shimmering with quiet fury. Greater than. You've awakened him, he'd said, his voice trembling. Do you understand what you've done? Inaya shook her head. I didn't mean to, I didn't know. You must choose, he said. You cannot hold both the light and the shadow. Then Azaan stepped forward, human but glowing faintly with a silver aura. Greater than. I am him, he said simply. The shadow you have culled. The one who loves you across lifetimes. Inaya's chest tightened. She looked between the two, both him, both real, both impossible. Greater than. I can't, she whispered. I can't choose. Lunaris's eyes softened. Then let me show you. He lifted his hand, and suddenly Inaya was standing in the Silver City, the moonlight spilling over towers and floating streets. And there, she saw everything, all the lives she had lived, all the love she had given, all the shadows she had feared. Azaan's voice came from the mist. Greater than. Love is stronger than the curse. And Inaya finally understood. It was never about choosing between light and shadow. It was about trusting the heart. She reached out, first to Lunaris, whose silver hand held hers like a memory of eternity. Then to Azaan, whose warm hand felt like home. A soft brilliance surrounded her, blinding and gentle. The moonlight swirled, carrying the whispers of the city. The dreams of centuries, the promise of forever. When the light faded, they were no longer separate. Lunaris and Azaan were one, shadow and light fused into a single being, standing before her with eyes that held both eternity and tenderness. Greater than, together, he whispered. We are together now, in every life, every dream. Inaya's heart soared. She realized that love, true, magical, timeless, could exist beyond rules, beyond realms, beyond even the moon itself. And as the night sky shimmered silver again, she felt it. The moon was no longer just above her. It was inside her, and she was inside it, forever intertwined with light, shadow, and love. The end.